Will all departments have caps? Like, I mean, or will it be sort of a soundboard where you can...
Well, the cap applies across
the
the whole range of those core government administration departments and 5 other agencies. And as we've always said, some will go up and down depending on circumstances, but the key thing is to make sure that the overall administrative cap is maintained, that we keep a strong focus on value for money and staffing, and department chief executives are essentially knowing that they have to make sure that the whole of the sector operates within that cap.
And how are you going with the mergers that you're doing? So, I mean, anecdotes from some staff suggest that it's disruptive.
Oh, look, I think that we're seeing that those mergers are proving quite effective. If you look, for example, of the merger into the Ministry of Agriculture of the Ministry of Fisheries, we've also food safety going into MAF. I think there's made, most people will tell you that's a very, very sensible move. We know that that's going to save $48 million over a 4-year period. I'm getting very positive feedback from those people involved in that sector about the changes being made there. So look, these things are disruptive. They do change the way people work and the way people's lives roll out each day, but it's about providing a more efficient service for the public, a better use of taxpayers' money, and what we've demonstrated as a government is that we take these opportunities as they arrive and we deliver better resources and better services for the public.
And have you had a look at what further mergers you could do that perhaps haven't been announced?
We don't have a pipeline of these things coming. What we know is that departments are looking at how they operate and how they might be able to share services in order to improve things. What we know, for example, is the central agencies, which is Department of Prime Minister of Cabinet, SSC and the Treasury, for example, have been looking at having a shared back office function in order to reduce costs and free up money that can go elsewhere. I think you'll see more and more of that happening.
When could that be implemented?
That's currently being implemented now. I think they're in a consultation with staff over there.
So that's been positive feedback?
Yes, very positive feedback.
Have there been any gripes?
Look, I think you'll always meet people who think things are a challenge if budgets are tight, but people realise that we are in tight economic times. If you look at what's happening around the world, our government's taken a very moderate position with respect to the public service. What I don't think is an answer to the country's financial problems is Labor's plan to return back office administration staff numbers to where they were in 2008. I simply don't think New Zealand can afford the money that that would require. What we've demonstrated in the last 3 years is with good value, good management and this cap on public service, we've been able to improve public services. I don't think Labor's plan of restoring or filling those back office positions, another 2,500 jobs in the public service, will be an answer to our financial problems.
And with the 6% who have left over the 3 years, do you have any idea of where they've been? Because the argument has been, let's cut back on back office staff in the public sector and they can go into the export sector because we're going to have an export-led recovery. That's essentially been Bill English's argument. So do you actually know where they've gone?
Well, we don't monitor where those staff have gone, but what we do know, there's always a churn in the public service, there's always jobs churning in the private sector as well. Our responsibility has been to make sure that we get top value for the taxpayers' dollars. That's why we've had this cap, and that's why we're announcing today we're dropping the cap down to where we've got to, and in the next 3 years, if we've got the privilege of being re-elected, we'll operate in a very similar way that we have in the last 3 years, is making sure that we take those opportunities for savings so that we can free up money for frontline services.
Done your own reviews instead of just relying on polls from the media?
Oh, look, I think as you travel around the countryside and talk to, for example, in the health portfolio, you meet a lot of patients who are benefiting from the extra 27,000 elective procedures that we're doing a year, the faster cancer treatment. You meet a lot of parents who are happy they've got 1,600 more teachers in front of classrooms.
But has the State Services Commission carried out its own review as to whether it thinks public service?
Yes, we do a Kiwi Counts service survey regularly, and that would indicate to you that public confidence in the public services are improving.
Just checking, this 6% fall, was that in the back office stuff? And so what's been the net thing, including frontline people, what's been the net movement in public service jobs?
Oh, well, in the net movement in public service jobs, if you take the whole and include those health boards, etc. like that, you can see quite clearly that we've actually had an increase in our frontline staff numbers. It's pretty significant.
But overall public service,
well, if you look,
the back office
well, if you look at 2,500 gone from the back office and add to the front line, 1,600 extra teachers, 800 extra doctors, 2,000 extra nurses, 600 extra police officers, more SIFs, youth workers and social workers, you can see there's been an increase. The balance has changed from back office to frontline services.